Welcome to another episode of In the Nude. Today I want to talk about coming back home to yourself, the spirit within. What do I mean by that? The spirit within, coming back home to yourself. Healing isn't just figuring out what was broken and how things you dealt with and coped with and the pains you went through, but it's also figuring out how to be you, right? We spend so much of our time having to appease other people or react to other people or whatever in the trauma that you've gone through that we lose ourselves. That we let go of who we are to become who we need to be. We let go of who we are to cope with the situation around us. We let go of what us, like the core, our spirit, our heart, or we keep parts of it, right? But we latch on to these copings, they latch on to these other people's perspectives or words or pressures from external, and we release ourselves. One of the beautiful things I find about healing is learning how to come back to yourself. It's one of the things that rubs me the wrong way when it comes to religion, right? Religious groups, anyway. Specifically, I was raised Baptist, right? And there's a lot of communication about the person being bad, but they don't rectify in Scripture where it also talks about people being good, because it's not one or the other, it's both. We have the presence and the capability of being either, and so it's not that you have to let go of or change who you are, but it's letting go of the ways that we have coped, letting go of what is not aligned, letting go of what isn't for us any longer, and coming into this like intuitive spirit and nature, these gifts that we naturally have, and letting go of how we perceive things to be negative. I have, here's a tangible example of myself. I am a very emotional person. What do I mean by I'm a very emotional person? I am a person who, when I listen to happy music, I can feel it in my body. Everything about the music starts taking a part of my person. I want to dance, I want to lean, I want to share that joy. I want to rate, like I just vibrate with it. And when you play a sad song, I am filled with sorrow. I take on all it. It's like it becomes a part of me. I have to be very careful with what I listen to and I watch as a result of that, because it doesn't just stop when the music stops. There's this energy, this thing that's a part of it. And as a result of that, when I take on another person's emotions, I take on the pressure, I take on the heart, I take on the protection, I take on all of that. And when it's a gift, it's a fantastic and beautiful gift for me able to walk into a situation and see how you're feeling or see how they're feeling. And know in that moment, the reason I know how to do that isn't great. But I know in that moment what you need. I know who and what you need. And I can either choose to become that if I have the space for it, or choose to facsimile what can help, right? It's a beautiful and fantastic gift, but it also can be a curse if you view it that way. I get so affected if I am not very careful with my boundaries and my protections. If I don't create a film, if you will, like a bubble around myself when I go out in public, I will start receiving everybody who's around me's feelings, strangers, it doesn't matter, and I can start feeling agitated for no apparent reason. It's because I'm taking on the feelings I see in another person, but I don't even cognizantly pay attention until it's too late and I've taken it on, right? So there's a curse to every positive, but there's also a blessing to every curse. It's your biggest strength is your biggest weakness type of thing. But it's learning how to harness the good of who you are, harness the gifts of it, and then protect yourself and keep yourself from having to lean into those negatives. It's learning how to embody yourself. It's learning how to come into yourself. That's this beautiful process of healing, and it gives this, you have superpowers that you have seen and somebody else has told you are these weaknesses, but they are these gigantic gifts. So how do we do that? How do we come back to ourselves? How do we find that spirit within? Because if you're anything like me, I was so freaking lost. I had been pretending to be anything and everything that other people needed, that I just felt like I was a patchwork quilt of other people's needs and feelings. I didn't know how and who and what I was, and it felt overwhelming and daunting as a 30-year-old adult woman to be finding myself. And I'm still in this process, but I went from being overwhelmed to dipping my toes in to now I feel like excited about further exploring who I am and discovering as I change and I grow. So I want to talk about my journey and things that helped me to both give you practical examples of how it can be, and that if it's defeating and frustrating in the beginning, you're not alone. And also the things that helped me that maybe that might help you. So, like I said, I started off feeling completely overwhelmed. Completely like, this is annoying and frustrating to be a grown-ass woman and not know who I am and try to figure it out, or feel like I had things that I knew. Like, I felt like I knew what my favorite sandwich was. Shocker. I found out I don't even like what I thought was my favorite sandwich. I just liked it because I felt like I had to. And that's a silly thing, but like, imagine thinking you knew what your favorite ice cream flavor was, and then you licked it one day and actually sat with yourself and tasted it and then was like, this is horrible. It's small, but it's not small because it makes you realize how entrenched you were in appeasing, how entrenched you were in letting go of yourself. So where did I start? I honestly started with overwhelm, and then I started with, trying to, when I was upset, trying to be like, okay, does getting in a bath sound good? No. Okay. Do I need to sit in a quiet room? No. Okay. Do I need to take a minute and just straighten up in this room? Okay, yes, that's what I need right this second. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to straighten this room, not the whole house, not get overwhelmed, straighten this room and then sit down. Did that help the anxiety feeling? That level? Okay. Now, what does my body, asking those questions and trying to see how my body responded. Kind of like when you're sick and you feel nauseated and you're trying to find something to eat because you know you need to eat, and you walk in the pantry and you immediately are like, oh no. And then you could find a thing, saltine crackers or dry cereal or dry toast or applesauce or whatever it is for you, right? It's that feeling, but applied to more than just when you're sick. It's applied to when you can, where you can, asking that question of yourself in other scenarios. I have both a gift. I have my kids most of the time, and they're fantastic and wonderful, but I do have the ability to do this fairly well 4 days a month, because that's the time frame my kids are with their father. And that may not be a gift that you have. So maybe for you, you can carve out 15 minutes because you're always with your kids, right? Your kids need you, if you have kids, to take care of yourself. And if you don't have kids, find the time. Find the time, make the time, force the time. You are a priority. This is important. It matters. So start where you are with however little time you have or however much time you have, and ask questions, explore. If the questions thing isn't working really well with you, maybe stop and when you're eating food, really stop and taste it. Slow your roll and really, if you were tasting it for the first time, trying to parse down the flavors that are there, really taste your food and be like, man, do I like this? What do I like about it? Imagine you're dating yourself, right? Imagine that's what it's like. You want to be so invested in what's happening in the moment that you're trying to do this, like you're on a first date with another person that you really, really want to go on a second date with. That's the type of energy show up that I'm talking about. It's exploring, it's getting your feet wet. It's a beautiful dance that you're worth doing, right? And when I first started, it was awkward and uncomfortable and clunky, and it felt like way more work than it should have been, and I didn't like having to invest in that, and it felt fruitless. I didn't see a lot of improvement. I honestly saw, much like most of my healing journey investments, things were getting worse. But that's because my body was starting to feel safe. When you start to finally feel safe, things are going to get worse because your body's been protecting yourself because it felt like it needed to. Maybe you'll get sick more. Maybe you'll get headaches more. Maybe you'll have all these explosions of feelings more. Your body, when it starts to feel like you're taking care of it, it's going to start being like, okay, I'll relax a little and see how you respond. And if you, in that response, when those things are happening, you shut down and attack yourself, it's going to pull back. And that's hard. At least it was for me. My immediate response was so defaulted in self-denigration and self-attack and self-loathing and bullying myself, and then hating myself for those being the responses. The cycle continues, right? It's a hard stopgap. And you can't expect yourself as much as you want to be there, wherever the there is, like not self-hating, not having this internal bully, not having whatever, being able to forgive yourself, being able to sit with yourself. You can't be where you want to be without being where you are right now. And that's defeating, and it's frustrating, and it's slow, and you don't want slow. But that slow process, it's like fortifying to your body. It's imagine you've had a dysfunctional relationship, right? We all have. Friendship, relationship, parental, whatever it is. Imagine they've broken that trust, right? They've hurt you in all those different ways. And imagine they came in one time and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then they're looking at you to just forget it. Just walk forward like nothing happened. You laugh because it's stupid, it's laughable, but we do that to ourselves. We have this perspective, we have the thought process that, oh no, I've done this once, I'm listening to my body now, you should just like let it all go and it should be fine. It's gonna take fortification, it's gonna take time for your body to trust you, it's gonna take time to process all the things that you didn't let go of. And for me, it was a long time of test casing and feeling all these things and exploding and just continuing to what felt like hit my head against the wall. But instead of viewing it like you hit your head against the wall, there's this perspective, there's this visual, and I think I've talked about this in a different podcast, but it feels like you're going in circles, right? It feels like you're just continuously having a loop. And there's this meme that shows like the circle that you just feel like you're redrawing, right? From the perspective of top down. And then the one below it is turning that circle on the side. And it's actually slowly but surely moving into a funnel, down or up or whatever visual helps you. But sometimes we feel like we're just learning the same lesson over and over again and we don't feel like we're doing anything. But often we're growing the roots that will allow the plant to shoot up, that will give us the results that we're looking for. And it's not fun, but it is fun eventually. And it can be fun when we change our perspective. When we decide that, when you meet somebody and you have the butterflies and you're on a first date or you're getting to know them, you don't think of the experience of getting to know them as frustrating. You think of it as exciting. You think of it as enjoyable. You think of it as like nervous energy. Maybe we can come to the table for ourselves that same way and have that perspective. It took me a while to make that shift. If you can do it quickly, one, please explain to everyone how that happened, how you did that. Would love to know. Think it's good for the world to know. And if it doesn't, know that it can get there. I went from it being extremely arduous and hitting my head against the wall and feeling it was a waste of space to slowly seeing small adjustments. Learning how to do some somatic stretching so that when I gave space and time for big emotions that didn't seem to have root or foundation for what they were, to have the time and means to leave my body without it being obtrusive to my life. I explored and found some things that didn't work and some things that did work by scientific method, throwing the spaghetti at the wall, if you will. Like, it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect. The reason why there's so many different options isn't because there's a right answer. It's because you will figure it out what the right answer is for you through that trial and error. It's like a toddler learning to walk. You're going to fall over a whole bunch of times before you start getting the groove of it. It's the same thing. To now, I don't have me figured out. And I don't know if I will ever. But the thing that's adjusted is me having joy in the process of learning about myself, me having care and concern and love for myself, me finding myself to be a pretty cool person, me being able to look in the mirror now, and all of my life I've had body dysmorphia, all of my life I've had self-hate and self-shade. I can look in the mirror now physically and say, you're cute. I can see who I am and think, no, you're pretty cool. And not like an ostentatious, I'm cooler than somebody else. It's not about the comparison. It's about just the identification of myself and being able to see the good versus seeing a long list of faults. I now can have fun with the process of dating myself. I can have fun with spending an evening on my own, exploring what I want to do. And it's not always fun and pretty. I'm still in the exploration of learning what play looks like to me. That may sound silly to you. Maybe play comes easy to you. It doesn't come easy to me. It doesn't come easy to me. I remember as a kid, imagination. But my imagination turned itself on its head. Worry, right? I still got it. I still have it on worry. I still have it on anxiety. I still have it on all those things. So it's still there, but I don't know how to fortify it for play. I haven't figured out play for myself. And there are times where I feel extremely defeated and frustrated that play is so hard for me. I found some things that I do know, going outside, being outside, listening to nature, those things help me feel peace, help me feel content, help me feel rest. But they don't really connect to play often. Physical movement, like I went to a essentially, like, think Wipeout, the TV show, I think is what it's called. At least the people that are there kept referencing Wipeout, but it's like a floaties on top of a lake quarry, right? And you like, they're obstacle course. That was play for me. I can't go there every day, right? But that was play, that physical activity, that like adventure, that was play. Hiking, I know, is play for me. But like, I want tangible, easy, small things that I can do day in, day out for play. I don't have the time to go on a long hike every day. I don't have the time or the money to be able to go to that Wipeout place every day. But I want tangible, like, smaller ways to play. I know painting used to be a play, but that's another one that takes a big chunk of time. I want more. And how I'm going to find it isn't because of this deep-seated just like, give it to me. It's going to have to be me playing around. I found some things. I read. I like reading. But I want ones, like, reading for me is beautiful and fantastic, and I love it, escaping at the world that somebody else created, thinking through the things and like postulating how I would change it if I was writing it. All of that is a fun play for me. But I also want ones that are more fortified in presence, like in being in the moment, right? And for some people, it's paint by numbers or those crystal sticker things. Like, anyway, this is a diatribe on play, but the point is simply, I'm still in this exploration, but the difference in how I feel about it is I'm now excited about the process most of the time. Sure, I'll have these like outliers of frustration. Sometimes I'll have these like, about it. But the journey progresses. It goes from frustrating, overwhelm to seeing slight adjustments to sitting and actually enjoying the journey. It's going from it being a to-do list to a be and enjoying the process. Things that I have found extremely helpful and getting me to get from overwhelm to seeing some progress, silly stuff. Like going outside and looking really closely at leaves. Forcing myself to be extremely present for just like 30 seconds, a minute, and really, really, like, don't let other things, don't let the to-do list, don't let the busy, and just look at the leaf. Really look at it. See the tiny fine fibers that look like hairs. See the veins, and you start noticing like the beauty, the difference in shades of green that you thought were all just one green. You really start to actually see it. Or like pay attention to a spider in a spider's web, or a bird, of like any type of like, just really look at a thing. And nature for me is like, it helps. Like there's a grounding level of standing in the dirt or the holding something or the like listening to something, but like really stop and look at a bug. Really stop and look at dew on a grass. Really stop and like parse down in a flower, right? That taking the time to really get like macro in the moment on a thing, that helped me a lot. Taking the time to slow down and drinking my coffee in the morning and really taste it. Just slowing down. And there's science behind it. One of the best ways to like tangibly, continuously help regulate your nervous system, which helps you be more present in the moment, which helps you with less anxiety and stress, is just slowing down. Which is hard because when you're in that, you're like, I don't have time. I have too many things to do. But you're worth it. You do have the time because you don't have the time to have a mental breakdown. You don't have the time to not be mentally well. You don't have the time to have an anxiety attack. So you have the time. We need to just force yourself to do what you can when you can and slow down. So walking slower, sitting down and actively, if it takes you counting your chews, slowing down when you're eating. Sit there and let your food just sit on your tongue and really try to explore the flavors that are there. Imagine that the food that's on your plate cost you $1,000. You don't want to scarf that in, right? Slow tasting, being really present in the flavors that are there, letting it roll in the different parts of your tongue and seeing how it changes the taste and textures. Those silly things, those like they really feel like what, just a waste of time. They made a difference. Something else that made a difference for me was, you know that feeling when you like, I really want, fill in the blank. I really want to go outside and like scream. Or I really, really feel like right now would be a great time to go walk around the store you like. I really want to text this friend this particular thing right in this moment. I really want to go just like do a Sudoku puzzle. I really want like these, you know, like gut, and it's like they're like, and it doesn't make sense. It's like, go to this store right this second. You don't know why, but you have this like gut. When you can, following it. Maybe that friend that you felt like you needed a text, maybe in that moment you didn't realize it, but they needed that text. And you find that out by texting them. Maybe in that moment when you go to that store that you felt like it didn't make any sense, there's something there that you really needed, or someone there you really needed to meet. Maybe you needed an uplift of energy, or maybe you needed to be that person to that person. There's this like, but even more so than when you gain in the process, it's the listening to it and taking the action when you can, when you have the space, when you have the time, when you have the whatever, that making that connection, that listening to yourself. It made a difference for me. It makes a difference even now. Stopping, slowing down in the morning and being like, okay, what is important today? What is the focus of today? That's something that came later when I started already seeing some movements, and it changed me from being like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this because I see moments, to enjoying it. Was the slow down in the morning for me of taking the time and like really just sitting and being like, what is today's priority? What is the vibe? What is the be? Breathe, play. And that doesn't mean you don't go about having to do your work, but it's finding a way to be playful in your work. Finding a way to make a game of it in your head. Finding a way to like, well, you would with a little kid, right? Like with a kid, you're struggling for them to clean up. You set a timer, you're like, I can beat you, right? You can do that same energy for yourself, even in a work environment. You can do a small thing like you with your kids where you reward them, right? Like, you know, get through these 10 whatevers at work and I get to have an M&M, or I get to do a little dance party for 30 seconds or whatever it is, you know? But like sitting at the beginning of the day for me and like really just like gut level, like spirit level, like energy level, what is today's focus? That has made a difference in me really enjoying my day. Me realizing, okay, I'm going to find the play today. I'm going to find the calm today. I'm going to recenter, right? B is the focus, right? I'm going to take moments. I'm going to set alarms on my phone to take 10 seconds and just come back to my body and in this present moment. Really feel the sete underneath me. Really feel how my hand feels sliding against my other hand. Like, it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be exorbitant. It doesn't have to take endless amounts of time, but it's finding the pockets. It's forcing the pockets because you're worth it. And the more that you do that, the more that you like find ways to really be with yourself, find ways to really date yourself, you start enjoying the experience. You start having a relationship within yourself. You start being able to parse off what is you versus what was coping. Parse off what you don't want anymore. Something else that really helped me was questioning this, like at the end of a day, if I need to, like if the day is too crazy and busy, at the end of the day, sitting there and being like, what parts of today really like aligned with who I want to be? What parts of today really like fit where I want my life to go and who I want to show up as? What parts of my life did I enjoy? What parts of my life I did not? And like sitting with it and parsing it down and asking, then starting to like, as I see that pattern of things that help me in my head, figure out, okay, like for example, one of the things that wasn't aligned for me is opening up my phone for social media just to get rid of notifications. That isn't aligned for me. It's just taking time. It's muscle memory. It's me trying to get a dopamine fix that isn't functional for who and what I want to be. Not saying that that's for you, but for me, that was one of them. So I stop in the moment. I pick up my phone and I start to click and be like, oh, is this who I want to be right now? And I make a conscious choice instead of a default muscle memory. And I can click my screen off and put my phone down and be like, no, I want to be. I want to experience what my life is and not escape it. I don't want to just be chasing dopamine external for myself. I want to create it for myself in this moment. You're worth making the time. You're worth that effort. And the more that you do it in the hard and the arduous and the proving it to yourself, the more it unfolds and the more you can find the perspective. And again, if you're a person who doesn't struggle with it being work from the beginning, I would love for you to give anybody and every, like I would still like to have that, oh sorry for hitting that, give that every, that is a gift that you have. And please, if it comes, whenever you have something that comes easy to you and you feel like it's second nature for you, that's a gift. I don't know if you like realize that, but that's a gift. It's not true for everybody else. You feel like it's second nature, you feel like it's easy, that means that is a gift for you. That is a superpower for you. Things that come naturally for you do not come naturally for another person, and you taking the time to share what and why and how, or showing up as that for another person. Like if you could easily, without any problems, see the like way to shift to perspective, that's a gift that you can give somebody else by taking their circumstance and shifting it for them and showing them how they've grown and emboldening them and encouraging them. If you're a person who can naturally walk into a room and like just see how it could be organized, that's a gift. As a person who has to work at organization and loves things to be cleaned up, because I have two parts of my brain, one can't do it and the other one desperately needs, that's a gift. Anyway, just like when you have those, please know that those are superpowers that you overlook because you think they're just everybody. No, they aren't everybody. That's beautiful and fantastic and a way for you to like shine you. Something else that has been extremely helpful that I couldn't do super well in the beginning, but as I started progressing, I was able to do more. I would try it in the beginning, but it was like just, I would last 60 seconds max. But honestly, do what you can, start where you can, and start with where you are. And it's okay. It's okay that I could only do it for a short time frame. What is the it? I'm getting ahead of myself. Sitting with myself. You know when you get that like uncomfortable feeling, that anxiety, or that like sorrow, and you don't even know where it's coming from, and you want to have a reason, you want to have a sitting with yourself like you would a friend. Like you have a friend who has a panic attack, you're not going to walk up and be like, why are you doing this? You sit with them, you give them comfort, you start deep breathing next to them. That's something that can help you come back to yourself. You loving yourself by being with yourself in those big feelings. Often when we're having those big feelings, we don't need someone to rationalize. We don't need somebody to fix it. We need somebody to just sit with us, to tell us what we were never told. You're not too big. You're not too much. You'll be okay. This isn't overwhelming because you're not too much. You just need to be in it. And you need someone to be in it with you. And you didn't have that to help you know how to do that, so you've got to be that for you now. Partition yourself. You already know how to do it, and be that person for yourself. Allow a part of yourself to feel those things. And allow a part of yourself to sit with you in it. The more that I do that, and man, when I'm in a bad mental space, it is the last thing I want to do. I find excuses. I pull up my phone. I scroll. I watch something. I clean something. I busy myself with helping my kids. I like anything. I actively know how much better I will be if I just sit with myself, and every part of me, it's like it's on fire, running away from what feels like the thing I should be running away from, but I know it's also the thing I need to be running to, but I still can't seem to help myself. I get it. But the more that you can sit there and just, as much as you can, for as much as you can, sitting with yourself, it's exploring. And maybe these things that I have found that work for me won't work for you. And that is beautiful, because to find these things, I tried so much. I don't like the people that go like, what is it called? The shopping care. It's got a word for it. You know what I'm talking about. When you go out and you buy something pretty that you don't, like, it wasn't on all it. That is not a thing for me. I came from like extreme poverty and spending money is something that doesn't make me feel better. It makes me feel anxious. It makes me feel, and yes, and limiting money views, all of those things. I'm working on myself, okay? I got none of this ish figured out. But like, that was one that didn't help me, but it can help someone else, right? Things that do help me are the small showing up for myself. It's the, I don't feel like taking a shower, but I know I need one. I don't feel like eating, but I'm going to force myself to have a protein shake at least, because my body needs nutrition. I want to binge on chocolate, but I'm going to take today and do a day of like reflective and fasting, because I also know that not eating can help heal the body for short stints, not all the time, and not for self-shaming and all of those things. That's a whole different, like, this is for the idea of loving yourself fasting, right? Using it as a reminder to come back to the moment, using it as a reminder to pray if you're like believe in a higher being. Anyway, it's a beautiful experience that you get to do for yourself. And I love that you're doing that for yourself. I hope that you know how amazing and fantastic and beautiful you are, and how strong you are for taking up this mantle of learning how to do this for yourself, taking up this mantle of you are worth it and loving yourself unconditionally. For the first time in your life, you get that for yourself. Like, all the hats off, all the kudos, rounds of applause. Know that it's going to be hard, and that you're worth that hard.